Hello everyone. Today I'm going to start the second part. So as the first example, I'm going to discuss with you about the life cycle of frog. So before starting the discussion, I would like to show you a small video clip. Just watch this and you will be able to get an idea about the life cycle of frog by watching this video clip. So the adult female frog lays eggs, and those eggs develops and hatches to produce the tadpole, and that tadpole undergo different growth stages and finally develops into the adult frog. So uh, we'll see how this growth occurs and what are the special things that you find in these growth stages of the life cycle of frog. So if you consider the life cycle of frog, you find three distinct stages in its life cycle as the adult frog, eggs, and the tadpole. So here again you have the diagram of the life cycle of frog. So this adult female frog lays eggs, and these eggs undergo fertilization. Actually, it occurs external fertilization and it develops into the embryo, and after the hatching eggs, the tadpole comes out, and this tadpole is like a small fish and it develops into the adult frog by passing uh, these growth stages. So this is the life cycle of frog, and this life cycle is an example for the life cycle with an incomplete metamorphosis, because here you find only three different stages in the life cycle. So if you consider the three main stages of the life cycle of frog, you find three stages as adult frog, egg, and tadpole. So now let's see what are the special features you find in these three stages. So if you consider the adult frog, it uses legs for locomotion and it respirates through lungs. And if you consider the feeding habits of this adult frog, it depends on small insects. So we call it as an insectivorous animal. As it feeds on small insects, we call it as an insectivorous animal. And this adult frog lays eggs. So these eggs are jelly-like structures, and the female frog lay eggs in water, and after the development of the eggs it produces the tadpole, and this tadpole is like a small fish, and it can swim in water as a fish, and also it breathes using gills. And if you consider the feeding habitats of this tadpole, it feeds on the aquatic plants. So it is a herbivore. So if you consider the adult frog, it is an insectivorous animal. But here this tadpole depend on the plant matter, so it is a herbivore. And this tadpole undergo different morphological changes, and here it is clearly explained in this diagram. And finally it becomes the adult frog. So if you consider the two main stages, that is adult frog and the tadpole, their feeding habits are different from each other. So this is very important to reduce the competition to find food. So having different morphological stages with different habits is very important to reduce the competition of this animal for living. And now let's move to another example. Here I'm going to discuss with you about the life cycle of a butterfly. So before starting the lesson, we'll watch this small video. Uh, Here it has an egg of the butterfly, and after the hatching of the egg, the caterpillar comes out, and we call it as the larval stage. And uh, this larval stage develops into the pupal stage, and it is a stationary stage of the life cycle of butterfly, and the butterfly develops within this pupa or within the cocoon, and finally the adult butterfly comes out after the complete development within the pupal stage. So I think now you have a clear idea about the life cycle of a butterfly. So these are the four main stages you find in the life cycle of a butterfly. So the adult butterfly lays eggs, and uh, after the development of the eggs, hatches and produces the larva, and this larva develops into the pupal stage, and then again this pupal after the completing the pupal stage, the adult butterfly comes out. So these two diagrams clearly explain the life cycle of the butterfly. So if you consider the stages of this life cycle, you will be able to see that it shows the complete metamorphosis. So this is an example for a life cycle with the complete metamorphosis. So here we have a table, and I have copied this table from your textbook. And so now let's see what are the important features you can find in the four main stages of the life cycle of the butterfly. So if you consider the eggs of the butterfly, the adult butterfly lays eggs on the lower surface of the leaves, and these eggs stick onto the lower surface of the leaves, and after the develop after completing the development of eggs, the larvae comes out, and it is a caterpillar, and usually it shows camouflage. So the physical appearance of the larvae is usually similar to its living environment. So the predators cannot identify this caterpillar easily, and it feeds on the tender leaves of the plant. So it uses the leaves of the plant as its food, and also for its protection it contains the hairs with venom or poison. So if this caterpillar touches your skin, uh, it may cause itching. And after completing the larval stage, it becomes the pupa. And there, the caterpillar secretes a cocoon and it lives within the cocoon. So it is an inactive stage. So it uses the energy for the food that it stored within its body during the larval stage. So in the larval stage, it takes higher amount of food to store energy to spend this pupal stage because uh, greater change of the body taken place within this pupal stage, and the butterfly develops within this pupa and it comes out after the complete development. So if you consider this adult butterfly, it has completely different morphology with these three stages, and feed on the nectar of flower. So if you consider the four stages, these eggs do not consume food, and also this pupal stage uh, does not consume food, but this larva feed on the leaves of the plant, and this adult butterfly feed on the flower nectar. So uh, if you consider the feeding habits, they are totally different. So there's no competition for the food uh, within the life cycle of the organism. And also if you consider the habitats also are different. So the competition for food and habitat reduced by having these four different stages in the same life cycle. And now we'll move to another example, that is life cycle of a cockroach. So first we'll watch this small video clip and try to understand uh, the nature of the life cycle of the cockroach. They are also it lays eggs, and here it shows the uh, picture of the egg that laid by the female cockroach. And after hatching the eggs, the nymph comes out, and this nymph develops into the adult cockroach. So let's see what are the three main stages. What are the main stages you find in the life cycle of a cockroach? So uh, there's the adult cockroach lays eggs, and the eggs develops into the nymph stage, and again this nymph develops into the adult cockroach. So if you consider its life cycle, uh, this nymph is morphologically similar to this adult cockroach, but it is very small in size. After few uh, shedding of the exoskeleton, it becomes the adult cockroach. So it undergo different molting stages to become the adult cockroach, and this only this adult cockroach stage is having the ability to reproduce and lay eggs. So this is the life cycle of the cockroach, and you can see that it also shows the incomplete metamorphosis. So the life cycle of a cockroach is an example for the life cycle which shows the incomplete metamorphosis. So earlier we discussed about the life cycles of animals. So if you consider the plants, these flowering plants and non-flowering plants also shows a life cycle during their growth period. So here in this diagram, it shows the life cycle of a flowering plant. So if you consider the flowering plant, the mature plants produce seeds, and usually these seeds are uncovered within a fruit, and after the maturation of the fruit, the seeds comes out and the seeds develop into the seedlings or young plants. and these young plants again undergo different growth uh, stages or undergo the growing process to become this mature plants. So not only the animals but plants also show a life cycle during its growth to become a mature plant. So we have discussed many details or many information about life cycles of both plants and animals. So, but in the lesson you discussed mainly about the life cycles of the animals. So here we are going to see importance of learning these life cycles. So if you consider the main importance of studying these life cycles, there are three. The first one is to pest control and also to control disease causing vectors and conserve the biodiversity of our environment. So these are the main importance you find in learning this life cycle. So we'll see how the knowledge of life cycle effects in pest controlling. First we'll see who is a pest. So pest is an insect which harm the crops we grow. So usually we grow crops to obtain food. So there are some organisms or some insects which harm these crops. Usually they harm different parts of the grown crops. Or they harm to the leaves or the stems or fruits or roots or even to the flowers of the crops we grow. So due to this harm, we will not be able to obtain the expected harvest from the crops we grow. So here in this table, it shows four main insect pests we find in our home garden. They are fruit fly, coconut red weevil, paddy bug, and mealy bug. So if you consider the fruit fly, it mainly harm the fruits like mango, banana, and guava. So the larval stage is the harmful stage of its life cycle, and it is the stage of the life cycle that you can easily destroy. So, if you destroy the fruits with this larval stage properly, if you discard them properly, you can control the growth of this fruit fly. And also, if you consider the coconut red weevil, they are also this larval stage harmed coconut plant. So, um, if you destroy this larval stage or remove this larval stage, you can protect the coconut cultivation from the effect of this coconut red weevil. And if you consider the paddy bug, both adult and nymph stages destroy the leaves and the stems of the paddy plant. And if you consider the mealybug, it also harms the fruits and vegetables, and mostly affected part of the plant is leaves and fruits, and the adult stage of this bug effect cause the damage to crops. So if you know the stages of these of the life cycle of these organisms and the harmful stages and the stages of the life cycle which we can control easily, so you can apply different pest controlling methods to destroy these organisms or to remove these organisms from our cultivation. So you can apply different pest controlling methods to destroy these organisms. The best method to control these organisms is to using biological methods. There we do not use chemicals, but if the harm is at a higher level, you can even use the uh, pest or insecticides to uh, control these insects. So another main importance of knowing uh, about the life cycles of organism is to control disease vectors. So vector is an organism that transmit or that carries the pathogenic microorganism from one infectious organism to a healthy organism. So, for example, if you consider the mosquito is responsible for carrying disease-causing microorganisms. So, the dengue virus and the microorganism who causes the malaria are transmitted by the adult mosquito. So, if you know the stages of the life cycle of the mosquito, and if you destroy the stages of this mosquito's life cycle, if you remove the mosquito from our environment, you can easily prevent from the diseases which caused by the microorganisms which transmit by these mosquitoes. That is why we destroy the mosquito breeding places. So if you consider the life cycle of the mosquito, or most of the stages of its life cycle, that means the eggs, larva and pupa, all these three stages are found in water. So if you destroy the mosquito breeding places, you can destroy all these three stages, and you can uh, you can remove the mosquito from our environment. Then uh, we can prevent the diseases like dengue, malaria, as we remove the mosquito from our environment. Also, it is very important in biology conservation of our biodiversity. So, to conserve the organisms in our environment, we should have a clear idea about its life cycle. So, if you have a clear idea about the life cycle, you will be able to know what are the sensitive stages of the life cycle of that organism. So, for example, if you consider some insects, the larva is the most sensitive stage. Sensitive stage means the uh, stage of the life cycle that can be easily uh, destroyed by some external factors. And if you consider the fish, the eggs can be easily destroyed due to different reasons. And for example, if you consider the turtles, their eggs and young turtles can be easily destroyed by human activities and uh, changes in our and due to different changes in our environment. And also, if you consider frogs, their eggs and tadpole stage can be easily destroyed. So, if you want to conserve these animals, you should have a clear idea about its life cycle, and you should know what are the sensitive stages or what are the stages that have the threat to get destroyed. So, you can apply different measures to conserve those stages and to prevent the damage caused to those stages of the life cycle. Then you can protect the adult organism also. So this knowing about the life cycle of the organism prevent to conserve the organism and indirectly involve in the conservation of our biodiversity. So now we have come to the end of our lesson, and let's try to summarize what we have learned today. So at the beginning I discussed with you few examples for life cycles showing complete metamorphosis and incomplete metamorphosis, and also um, I discussed with you that not only the animals but plants also having life cycle, because they also show different stages in its growth cycle. So not only the animals but plants also have a life cycle, and we discussed the importance of knowing or studying the life cycle. So under that we discussed that there are three main importance of studying life cycles as pest controlling and removing disease transmitting vectors and uh, conserve our biodiversity. These are the things that I covered from today's video. And now I'm going to wind up my today's lesson, and we'll meet with another new lesson in my next video. Goodbye, you all.